Hey everybody, Whip here and welcome on back to Minecraft. We've got yet another Minecraft tutorial here for you today, and I am so happy with this one. It was so fun to come up with our Riverside Ultimate Survival Base here. I think the balcony that we have is absolutely awesome. We've got a dock, we've got everything you could possibly need here, including a little side house. Who doesn't want a side house as a part of their main house? I think that makes it pretty ultimate right there for me, myself, but my friends, we've got everything that you could possibly need inside of an Ultimate Survival Base. So be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you have any other ideas that we don't touch on here. But while we're getting into this one, here's a rough list of the materials you're going to be needing on this. I did forget a few of them in here. I will say that it's just like the one-offs of like a birch stair or a single one of those being a chair or something like that. But anyways, my friends, with this tutorial right here, probably be doing a little bit better, a bit slower. So let's get to it. Alright my friends, it is time to get started with this here tutorial. This is the shape we're going to be looking at with this one. I know it's a bit weird and awkward and kind of fit for this build in the environment, but I think it's going to be super cool. Now for ourselves to get started down here, what we want to do is actually come down to these guys where we had those placed down here and bring that section out. So we're just doing some polished andesite on top of all these, and these ones are actually going to be raised up to being that same height. Below them, just go ahead and pile up some stone brick wherever you have the build revealed so we can hide it off a little bit. On top of those, go ahead and do some stone brick walls, bringing these up right here. And then on top of that, we're going to bring up 1, 2, and 3 oak fences. And it's going to create a little bit of a walkway for ourselves here, or an area that we're going to be adding that balcony to on top of this one. I think it's gonna be super cool. Then after this, what we want to be doing is bringing in, first and foremost, let's bring in some cobblestone around this entire area where we had the plan. And what you want to do here is actually stack this up so it's the same height as those fences. And then we're actually going to be bringing this down. I want to bring this down so we actually have an area down here where we can look at the build and be able to walk below it and actually get some access down to the waterway. But for now, just fill in this entire area with cobblestone and clear out the base of this. So we're going to go cobblestone around the entire box of this one and then empty it down to the base. Slight correction here on that last one that we just did is we're actually going to be bringing this up being a few blocks taller. So it comes as high as the cobblestone back here. So I cut that one short a little bit on getting started here. And what you want to do from here is just empty the thing all the way down to being 1 block above our base point here. And then at that point, go ahead and just fill in some jungle planks as a floor bit for ourselves. Then up here, what we want to be doing is grabbing some of our jungle log here. I like to use the full ones, the bark blocks themselves, so we can kind of extend this whole thing around. I think it'll look much better having that consistent texture to it than not. And that's going to create a bit of a floor for us. Then from here, we can grab in some of our oak slabs, which is going to create this next little area where we can, live. We can hang out on top of this next point and it'll be absolutely perfect. And that just kind of brings us up to here. Then we can just throw in a doorway right over here and go 2 blocks in from the side to get a doorway. And you'll have kind of these alternating doorways on here. What you can do with these middle ones, make it a little bit more seamless, is actually extend them and bring them out like that. Then on the ends, bring it all the way up and up and up, and then from here go ahead and just grab some more oak fences, fill this around this entire structure here, and you can be good to go with that one. Now to add some extra details to our cobblestone box that we have for now, go every other block and just add in a polished andesite going all the way up to the top on these front sides and right here, and then we can kind of just copy that around to this other side that we have for that one that's showing in here. Then this leads us to this point where we probably need to do some detail bits for it. So I like to bring in andesite and stone for these ones. So come down here, you can see that we're just going to mix in a little bit of andesite, creating these like lines with it. Almost they're more like just weirdly kind of curved lines. And then you can just add in a few more of those dotted around up here. Above the doorway, go ahead and throw in a polished andesite. And then let's also for ourselves, let's dot in a window right here. And that should be pretty much good for the windows on this lower floor. Not much is going to be happening down here, and put a polished andesite above that. Then as you kind of have the andesite building up around this area, since we're kind of below and we're still going to be stacking things up above ourselves here, for now let's just do most of this andesite and then dot in a little bit of stone up here at the top to kind of help smooth it out. And it should be pretty good, and we'll get a nice little bit of a texture variation to this one, and I like it. I think that works out pretty well for ourselves. Then down here for now, what we can do is go ahead and grab your oak door, fill that in right here where we have this guy, and you probably should have some stone brick stairs. Can fill that in right there as well. Then outside of us, also on the corners, you can do a stone brick stair or a stone brick with a stair on top of it, and just get some extra detail bits. It makes it feel more like we're connected to the environment down here and just kind of more situated into everything. Now, coming up to the next layer where we have our doorway right here, again, we're going to be filling in the polished andesite above that, then come over 1 block, and then come over 2 more, and then we're going to be filling in some more cobblestone. and then we're going to be doing polished andesite on top of those. It's going to be creating some little windows for ourselves on the front. Obviously, we want to be looking out over our lovely river and the savanna biome in front of us, and you can just continue bringing all this stuff up, including those polished andesite bits, stacking them all the way up, and then just going 2 blocks tall on this point. You might recognize what we're doing here from a recent tutorial as well. We're going to be bringing in a little bit of stripped oak log this time to create a bit of a door frame for ourselves, which should be able to be something a bit more interesting. And with our stripped oak, we actually want to be starting this all the way on the ends here and then bringing that in all the way across, coming up one more, bringing it in 1 block towards the center, and then doing another 1 block towards the center, right like that, all the way up. So you should get these little bit of peaks. I love this outside detail bit here. I think it's so cool. I think it's really nice having these big long horizontal lines for the textures on this. It really makes it feel different than everything else we have. But go ahead and get these in here. Finish detailing out the walls that you have around this place, so adding in some of that andesite and stone and everything like that to mix them up. On these end bits, what you can do is come down here and we can throw in a window right here, so we can get 2 windows on this side, and then we're probably going to be throwing some windows up above as well. Now, this far side that we have over here, which we will be tackling shortly, is going to be another structure, so maybe for now we just throw a window in right there. Then obviously we do need a doorway on this side, so that's going to be right in this point. It's kind of from that other side where we had the door, bring it over 1, and then you'll be good. Just helps add some variation to it. I personally don't like having lines where you can just walk straight through everything. You can just go straight through there to like through here or whatever. I think it's nice having that little bits of variation to it. Now to bring in the roof, we're just going to be using some spruce stairs going all the way across this guy. Similar pattern to what we've done before. I think it just works so well that it's hard to not do it. And just bringing in the stairs going all the way up across here. For this one, since we're using the oak and it's a little bit brighter, I'm actually going to be bringing in some upside down stairs on this lower point here. For now, forget about the second structure on the side. We'll attach that one in here shortly. But for now, go ahead and just bring in the spruce stairs going all the way around this one. Fill in the lines in between it, and then we'll break it up and add some of our windows into it. All right, as you come up to the top point, go ahead and bring in some slabs and actually have this hanging out a block right there on the end. I think it's kind of nice to have that little extra jutting out bit there. It just adds some extra detail to our build and mixes things up so it's not that harsh straight line anymore. We break it up a little bit further. Now what we want to do is come in here to the front of your build where you have the door right there, and we have the window up here, which for now, let's just so we know that that's the door, let's throw a door right in there. Come up and go right into the middle of your roof like this one, and we're going to be breaking in one of these little windows. So for now, go ahead and break out all 3 of those, bring in some spruce trapdoors right like that, and then you can place these right down in the center. And we want to be grabbing some of our glass panes. They're going to be very helpful here shortly. And we have that one in here, and then I also want to do another one right over here on this side. So we can actually, you know what, we'll do it right in here. So it's just even right here on this top point. And again, throwing in our spruce trapdoors and the stairs right along the sides. We get the slab on top of it with our glass pane in the center. And then it feels like everything is pretty balanced on this side, which I really like. And now we can come in here and just add in some glass panes to these. If you want to use any of the stained glass panes, they all could work in here well. Whatever color you really want to go with. I like the plain and simple being these lovely little clear glass. I really love this new texture. It's just so clean. Now that we have these ones in here, we can start to break up the stone textures that we have throughout the rest of this build by bringing in a few of these little spruce trap doors around it, and then go ahead and grab some leaves as well. In this case, I'm going to use oak leaves just because they're pretty basic and simple, and we can just dot some oak leaves in here, and I'll also do that in that upper one as well. The top one up here, since we have the roof overhanging it, I'm not going to be adding the trapdoors in because you could go with a flower pot on top of it, or if you really want to, you could have this sticking out right here like that. Make sure to not forget the build down below for yourselves. And then coming up here, we are going to be adding a door onto the front of this one. I know it's on the level of where our glass panes are, but we will be adding in the floor here in just a moment. For now, let's go ahead and just bring in some oak slabs all the way along this guy, and that should be pretty good because we can just add a little staircase coming down from that so you can actually get into the main floor. Just having that slight bit of disruption into the floor so it's not all just totally flat can actually help bring a lot more life into this one. So what we can do in here is go ahead and grab in some oak. We want to get some oak stairs, and we want to get our oak planks. And what I'm going to do here is just bring it over right like this. So you kind of come in here. We're going to have some of our spruce trapdoors, a little bit of interior work for ourselves today, and then we can do something like this. And so you come in the front door and you come over to the side and just walk right down here, and then you can get into the rest of the house, and you can divide it up from there as you want. We'll do the full interior at the end of it, but just want to give you all a quick tip for that one. Now let's start talking about this lovely structure over here on the side. This one we do need to flatten down a little bit further. And to give ourselves a good point of view, you can see actually the door would come right through here. So this one right here, we're actually just going to be throwing another door in right here, which will take us into our second part of the house. It can just be super simple, something like that to get yourselves across here. When you have these double ones connecting, I typically tend to go ahead and just remove the corner one. I would rather have it above the door frame than not, but for that gives you a good point of reference for where you want to be bringing in the floor for our next section that we're going to be doing, which is going to be a little bit of a wooden attachment to the house, something to break it up so it's not quite that normal texture that we had so far, and break away from the stone that we have, add some bit of variation to it, and could be something that you add in later on to your survival base. Whatever you want to be doing, it's a good way to kind of break things up and add some different textures in your build. So for now, adding in a strip jungle or a jungle pulling floor, and over here for now, let's just go ahead and throw in a spruce stair. Then we're going to be using strip jungle logs. So you can bring these up to being 1, 2, 3, and 4 tall along this entire area. So it's going to come up to this point. It's going to be much, much lower than this one over here. We don't want them to be on the same height because then again, it gets a little boring. So bringing this all the way throughout here, even including on this side, these walls are actually only going to be too tall on this upper side, but we do want to bring that all the way down to the floor. And you'll end up with a bit of a box like this. Now, what we can try in here is bringing in some jungle planks right here on the corners to help give it a bit more of a fortified look and to break up our texture just so it's not that whole sameness of it. And on top of that, another thing you can do is, as always, bring in some windows. So full glass blocks here on our slight diagonals helps it a lot better than not, and you can do a little bit of an action right like in here. If you would like to go with the flower pots, which we will do later, go ahead and just bring in some oak leaves and move it over to that side because that gives you a full block space here to place your flower pot. Then over on this end point here, we want to be bringing out 2 lovely windows for ourselves, this time with our glass panes, so we get that little bit of extra depth into it. And you can bring in some lovely oak leaves around here and just kind of fill in this entire environment. Maybe have them dangling over a cliff there would be super nice. Then on this backside, there's not too much that we can do here, so I'm thinking we'll take this point to go ahead and grab some brick for ourselves, and we can just quickly dot all of this stuff in here. We're not going to need many of those anymore. And we can bring in a small furnace area. This will just, for now, let's have it just kind of take out this wall, and we can have it bringing itself up right in there, which will stick out of the top. We'll have one chimney on this one. We'll have another chimney out the side of that. Over here, what we want to be doing now, though, is bringing in some spruce slabs for ourselves, and I like to bring those in just kind of at this lower level right here. I know it's going to be kind of weird working everything going upwards. In this one, I wanted to have it almost rounded, so we're going to be bringing these all in here, and then we'll kind of bring it all up into like the same point per se, but we're going to be adding an extra little bit of depth to it. So here you can just bring in a lot of these slabs going all the way around. I know we're bringing in a lot of things, and that will stack up something like this. Now this is where it gets kind of fun, and I like this added element for it, is that we're going to be using these end sections right like this to actually extend ourselves up and create a little bit of an overhang just to break it up slightly so we can have something more fun to look at. And so here, I know it's not too much, but it just gives yourself that slight little break there that I really, really enjoy. And we can do that same thing over on this end, which would be right here. We can just have that. And then this is actually just going to be extending right up into here. And then there's not too much that we do besides just that. And it's perfect, but it gives you that little bit of a break in there, and it's something nice to look at, just some different texture of sorts. Then after that, just bring in your slabs and fill in the rest of this roof. You'll find some spaces where they come into the line with the stairs of our first roof, and for that, go ahead and just kind of fill it all in together. And just right here, we're just going to be flattening it out, and it's totally okay. But like this, you can go ahead and just replace those with full blocks. Just kidding, that's not spruce. Full blocks right like that, it'll be totally fine. Now we have our lovely 2 little buildings here. They're working out very, very well. And one final thing that we got to do is we got to figure out where the heck we're going to be throwing that chimney. And I feel like this location back here is a perfect spot for our fireplace. So we can bring in the fireplace, have it kind of building out of this section right here, bringing in a lot of the brick around this area. I personally just love brick now. I think it's such a cool block in this game. So I love to use it inside of these builds. And we're going to be extending this up one and then bringing in a stair right there, and then quickly come onto the inside of this and bring up the bricks the rest of the way right like that. And then it'll be kind of weird here on the center. You can go and just finish off that box right there, so it's a bit easier to detail on the inside. And we can just extend ourselves up here, adding a little bit of a kink into the chimney itself. I think gives a more of a fantasy vibe. I personally love it. And then we need, of course, our campfire. Campfire is just going to be on top of here. Spruce trapdoors all the way around this guy, and then throwing a small slab on top of it. This thing over here, we can just make a smaller one as well. You don't want the campfires being on the same height, so we're just, the campfires don't want to be on the same height so that the smoke actually varies itself a little bit further. And here we can just do another little guy like that. But that is pretty much the entire exterior of the base. Let me get the interior done on this one, and I'll show y'all what we're working with. And there we have it, my friends. Our Riverside Ultimate Survival Base is now finished with a full interior and a brand new dock. Yep, I came through here and I was like, we need something on the front. We needed something out here, so I added a small dock area that we could just kind of have hanging out down here. You can get on your boat, you can fish off of it, you can do everything you want, and it works out pretty well. So I like it a lot. This thing's really cool. And coming over here, there's a wheat field in our backside, and this is kind of the best way to get into the door from here, get inside the base. So we come over here, and there is a small little pathway you can take to get down to the lower levels if you'd like to not go through the house. Maybe you want some guests that just coming down to borrow the dock or anything. You don't want them coming through your home. They can go down that way. But anyways, coming into the front over here, we've got our raised entrance on our staircase, comes down to the side, which goes into the side room, which is a bedroom. We'll take a look at that in just a moment here. And out in here, we've got our kitchen area, which also serves as a little bit of side storage, a small smeltery space, and kind of whatever you would need up here. We've got our wither skeleton skull. We've got our campfire in there. We've got some barrels around. This one's mostly decorative. I was going to add a second floor in here, but then I loved how tall the ceiling was. I loved how tall it was, and the lights and kind of the windows and everything up there. These beams do block the windows a little bit, so maybe you could do like one there in the center and one on this side to make it a little bit more even. But I like it as is, so I didn't want to change up the build too much. Coming back into here, however, we can check out the bedroom as our last thing on this top floor, and I've been recently in love with aquariums, so I added this small little guy back in here and just had to fit something in. We've got an ender chest, some more barrels, and some more storagey stuff around here with some bees. If you want to have some bees in your bedroom, you can have honey dripping all over your bed. I don't know if you're into that sort of thing with the bees. And then over here, we've got just a smoker to warm this area if it got chilly cold outside. And then we come back into the main area out on the balcony right now. It's just a small seating area, nothing too much out here, just somewhere where you can it's nice. You can sit down, you can look over your savannah and all that stuff, your river, watch all the motorboats go by and everything like that, wave to the neighbors, that sort of thing. Coming back inside, we can come all the way down here where we've got our major storage room. It's got everything you could possibly need. We've got furnaces galore over here and a full-on nether portal inside of your base that's seamless. It's really, you can't even tell there's another portal in here, and I think it's absolutely awesome. My friends, that is going to have to do it for today's video. I hope y'all did enjoy this one. Please be sure to click that like button down below if you did enjoy. Let me know in the comments below if you would fancy yourself building something like this inside of your own survival world. My friends, if you are brand new, click that subscribe button as well, and I will catch you on the flip side.